Hi, this is Ed from Wright, and today it's July of 2021, and we're going to cover some things that are frequently asked questions or questions that we hear from time to time, and a couple updates on our business, how things are going, that type of stuff. So first off, a question I frequently get is what's in the pipeline? What new products do we have? What are we going to see in the future? And although that's an exciting thing and I'd like to talk about it, it's something that I often can't talk about. And part of it is because there's IP and those types of things. We've got current product in the pipeline, but if really kind of philosophically what's going on there is I try to discipline my time to focus on our current business, our current products, current level of support, and these types of issues, and really keep our focus on what matters today to us and to you and getting that done. And so new products is something that I can't talk a lot about even if I would like to. The robotics piece of what we're doing, that is something we're talking about a lot more. We recognize that it's a very new technology. It takes maybe a little more time to get our mind around what's going on with it. Getting feedback on what you all think of it, and that type of thing is valuable to us. And so we're talking about that more. Currently, the stage that we're in is we have a handful of mowers that we're running throughout the country, building hours on them, getting experience and impressions from them with some specific operators that are giving that feedback. Another update, just generally speaking, is availability. So this year was like a mad rush on mowers for some reason, and all the manufacturers and subcomponent manufacturers are busier than ever, and in some cases backlogged. We're up against our capacity limits on producing equipment. Now, throughout the year, it's like a bathtub where our industry is filling the bathtub with mowers at a trickle all year long, and then spring we pull out the plug and mowers sell through significantly in the springtime. And so that means that despite having high sales in the spring, the production level is a lot lower than those spring numbers. And so that catch-up process is not always as fast as we'd like it to be. We're now at the point of year where we're producing more mowers than are being retailed, so inventory is turning, we're filling holes, and we're beginning the process of building inventory back up for next year. And so that's underway, which is optimistic news for those of us in the business. The other question I hear sometimes from time to time is how many mowers do we make? And that's a question that I don't answer. I kind of avoid that question. Part of it is I see as somewhat confidential, but the other piece of it is that I really do try to discipline how we work as a business on thinking about and treating all of our customers on an individual by individual basis. And so when we look at our measures within our business, our KPIs, these types of things, we oftentimes look at the per unit basis or per mower, per customer type thing. So for example, if we decide to change a part on a mower and it could improve the mower by this much or it could save costs by this much, we're going to look at that on how much money it saved per mower. On the other hand, the other way to look at it is say, okay, well, we're going to change this part, it's going to be a little bit cheaper and it'll save us $1 million a year. Now, if we do that, then you lose sight of really what's important. What's the experience that each of our customers is having as a consequence to that choice? And so by focusing the business on the per unit, per mower, per customer basis, it really keeps our perspective. And so we don't really think a whole lot about how many mowers we build in a year. That's not so much important as each one of our individual customers is being treated individually, not just as a number. And so we always bring our attention there in all the things that we do. That's what comes first and foremost and most important. The other question we get from time to time is pricing. I'm looking for such and such a mower. What would be the price on this mower? So we don't directly sell mowers. We don't directly price them. We have MSRPs. We run promotions from time to time. And on our website, you can see what our current list of mowers is that we're offering and their MSRPs, and if there's a current promotion, what that promotion looks like. But that's going to vary depending on shipping costs at that time or how far away that mower is from the factory, the current retail finance options that might be available. Those types of things are going to cause that number to vary somewhat. And so we can't direct quote, but that can give you a ballpark perspective if you look at the website there. The other question we get is how can I demo a mower? So let me first say that if you're looking at demoing a mower, go to our website and go to the Contact Us page, and right there you can fill out your information, what mower you're looking at, and we'll work to try to get you a demo as soon as possible. I will tell you that right now we're short on demos because of the current availability situation. But I think it would also be helpful to describe what's happening when we do a demo. Because ideally for you, you have a very specific model you're looking for, a specific deck, a specific engine, specific model, that type of thing, and you'd love to run it for a week on your route. And we would love to do that as well. But the thing is that economically that's not feasible. We would have to charge a lot more for our mowers if that was a service that we were providing. And I think most people would rather us not have more expensive mowers. And so that's a choice that we make, and it's pretty consistently a choice that our entire industry makes. So what we do in particular parts of the country, we have specific demos allocated as a demo. And so it comes out of the box. Certainly it's depreciated because it's going to become a used mower. And so we take that hit on it. And then those mowers that are available are the ones that are available for demoing. If you're looking for something unique or specific, typically it's not going to be possible to demo it if it's not in that set of demo units. The other thing is that every demo has a cost associated with it. And that cost is probably around 1/3 of the gross margin on a mower that's sold. So another way to put that into context is that in order for us and our dealers to break even by demoing, we would have to be able to sell one mower for every 3 demos that we do. So the demos are quite expensive, and so that's why we can't do them for extended amounts of time. It's why there's oftentimes a full schedule of when we're available to do a demo. But we understand that you want to get experience with the machine, and we'll do what we can to get you the nearest mower spec as soon as possible. It does vary a lot throughout the year. So April, it might become a lot more difficult to get a demo just because of the amount of activity that's happening at that time of year than maybe September or something like that. So that has an effect on it. Another thing is that somewhat of what's happened on the social media world, you might say, has been the impression that you might be able to demo a dozen different pieces of equipment before you purchase. And our industry would go bankrupt, really, if that was feasible or possible. And so I would not necessarily have the expectation that you'll be able to pull that many manufacturers to come out and do a demo necessarily. But again, we love doing demos, and reach out to us and we'll see what we can do. Tours is another question that we get from time to time, and we do love to do tours. If you're either traveling from the west to the east, coming out 70, we're only a couple minutes off the interstate. If you're coming down 95 on the East Coast, we're about 45 minutes to the west of 95. If you're passing through the area, we'd love to give you a tour. If you just want to come out for a tour, we'd love to do that as well. Feel free to reach out to us and set up a time. Typically, I'd be the one giving a tour. Sometimes if I'm not available, we might have someone else giving that tour. But we really do like to do tours, and you're welcome to reach out to us and set that up. Okay, so now let's move into a couple support-related topics. So first off, if you need immediate support, what's the best thing to do? Well, your dealer really is the front line of support. They know you, they know what you have, they know what's going on, they know what they have in terms of capability to get a part that you might need or something like that. If those things are not available to you, the other thing that you can do is reach out to us on our website. We've got a chat box there. If we're not live chat, then we'll get back to you by email as quickly as possible. And that allows us to put that question in the hands of the right person as quickly as possible. And our number one objective with that is try to get you up and running as quickly as possible, because we know that downtime is costing you your opportunity cost. So the other one I get is I personally get a number of different support inquiries, and certainly you're welcome to reach out to me, Facebook, Instagram, those types of things. But if you need immediate support, I would say that you're better off contacting the company than myself individually, just because I'm typically fairly far behind on what I'm able to keep up with from a messages standpoint. So let's talk about your dealer relationship here for a second. Your dealer relationship is extremely key to your success. Part of what's happening here is that a dealer is motivated to give you high support because of the equipment that they sell you or the potential equipment that they might sell you, and those two things come together with a synergy that's very, very important. Now, a question that we get sometimes is, hey, my local dealer doesn't want to do warranty work on my machine, and I bought the machine, from a location that's far away from here. And, can we force the dealer to do that work? The dealer's an independent business. We can't really force them to do that work, but we'd also be asking them to do something that they'd probably be taking a loss on, and that's hard for us to do with our business partner. It would be somewhat like if you had a landscape customer saying, hey, I got the kid up the street who's going to do the mowing, and I'd like you to come in every week and do all the trimming for $10. That's a difficult ask for us with our dealers. And so it's really important that where equipment is bought is also where it's serviced, and that those things are married together. Your dealer is a huge part of what your success is. They know you, they know your needs, they got the parts, they got the wrenches, they got the technical know-how all right there. We're glad to help, by message or by phone as much as possible, but we can't put a wrench through the phone necessarily. And another factor is just what does it mean as to be a manufacturer versus a retailer? So to be a manufacturer means that all of our business happens by wholesale. So when you sell from one business to the next, you don't have sales tax. There's a bunch of things that don't happen there. It's a business-to-business transaction. And so all of our financial and logistical things happen within a wholesale environment. So you'll see that we don't sell parts directly online. We don't have the ability to issue payments or credits or refunds or returns because of the nature of those financial transactions. So that's partly, amongst many other reasons, partly why your dealer relationship is really important. They are the ones that have the financial relationship with you, both to cover the product that you have, to get refunded by warranty work, all those things that happen there. So yeah, your dealer is very, very important what's going on. And I'll always say, if someone, if a close friend says, hey, what's the best thing for me to buy from a mower standpoint? I definitely want to say buy a Wright mower. But what I say is identify your dealer first. Pick the dealer that is nearest to you, has a very good shop, and then buy from that dealer. While I'm on that note, I also mentioned that you can also look at your dealer shop rates for repairs. And I would tell you, if I was to jump into any old city across the country and the only thing I could evaluate a dealer on was their labor shop rate, I would look for one of the dealers with the highest shop rates. And it's because we buy huge amounts of shop labor every year because of warranty. We're buying that work from dealers, so at some level we're very familiar and expert at this. But I'll tell you that we find that dealers that have higher labor rates, as a trend, have less callbacks, and they have less hours in the job, right? So what could have been a 2-hour job, they're getting it done in an hour. They have an expertise there because the market has proven that they can earn that labor rate with the value that they're delivering. So pick the dealer that has a really good shop, and I'm not saying pick a dealer that has the lowest shop rate. The other thing I'll mention is that as much as I talk about our dealers, I'm not saying here to never work on your mower yourself. I think actually working on the mower yourself is a very, very important concept for us as a society. And I'll tell you that personally, I grew up deconstructing things, making things, and that's just a really important part of who I am, who I've become. And it's valuable to me. And even today, I make a point of servicing, maintaining, and repairing most everything that I own. It's not always a practical thing to do, but I feel like it keeps me very grounded, something I enjoy doing for the most part. And but yeah, that's a little bit different. And professionally, within our business, we have all kinds of experts that work on our machinery here. And it's because of the opportunity cost. You have to look at, hey, I could repair this, or I could be out invoicing a job, doing a job that I can invoice, right? So you have to weigh that cost difference. And I'll tell you that 90% of the time, the best solution is to bring your equipment to your dealer. Now that dynamic can change if you're in a cold climate and you have a strong off season, and maybe you want to overhaul some stuff in the winter. Certainly that can be the case. And from our standpoint, and this relates a little bit to if you've heard about the right to repair stuff that's been going around the news, the idea that when you buy an asset, you have the right to deconstruct it and repair it yourself, or go to an independent shop to have it repaired, I think that's valuable to us as a society. Maybe not necessarily in our self-interest, but I think that's a very, very important thing. And also that's why you'll find why our company has a lot of resources, especially on YouTube, for repair information. One specific example of that would be an electrical issue. Think about electrical issues, although they're not that common, when they do happen, it's a very, very simple thing to fix. It's usually a single connection. The challenge is to figure out where it is. That's the big challenge. If you have an electrical issue, your best thing to do is go to a video that we put out maybe a month or two ago, and it's called, I think, Electrical Field Troubleshooting, and that has some very sequential things to look at, very practical. It doesn't require tools, and that'll help you understand whether you have the issue on the power side, the PTO clutch side, or maybe the safety circuit side, and really nail down, hey, it's probably this component that's giving me trouble. Start there. You might be able to fix the problem in 5 minutes, and if you do, we're really happy for you. If you get through that process and you find that you're not able to figure out what's going on, your best bet is to take it to your dealer, because what might end up as a troubleshooting process for 4 hours for you might be something they can nuke out in 15 or 20 minutes really quickly. So that's an example of the type of resources that we're committed to making available. We frequently get requests, hey, I'm looking for such and such a part for my mower. The best place to start there is if you go to our parts site, put in your serial number, and the top of the page will load with diagrams. You can pick through the diagrams. You can also put in a keyword search. If you're looking for a spindle, you can type spindle, or blade, you can type blade, and you can see the part number there and look up that number. We do get, and I get these types of questions from time to time. Will this other part fit? Customization, an aftermarket part, that type of thing. That's really something we can't speak to. If you're going to modify the machine, you're welcome to. We have no say over that. It's your asset. You can do whatever you want with it. It's a free country. But we're not really able to provide consulting services on modifications or alternative parts. Another question we get is, I have a back-ordered item, and we'll hear, hey, where's the status on that item? So, we produce at a wholesale level of these orders with lots of items in them, and those items don't have names on them. They're just going to warehouses throughout the country. And so we're actually unable to track your order from the top down. What it requires is that the order is tracked from the bottom up. And so again, your dealer is the best place to start with that, and we're glad to work with them on what that order status is, or if something is back ordered, can it be expedited or whatever. But always start with your dealer, because that's the ability to identify which order that we're talking about. Another thing we hear is, hey, can I use this filter on my machine, or the hydro filter? And the answer is no. We've seen a lot of different filters been used. Some work out and some don't. Probably one of the biggest thing is the micron rating might be the same, but the flow rate through the filter or the beta efficiency of the filter is not the same. Either not causing enough filtration or causing too much restriction, and that can create issues. So especially within the warranty period, we want to see that the original filter spec is used on the machine. It has a pretty big factor on your hydro life. The other question is, can I use this other oil on my machine? And the answer is the same there. We've picked the best oil that we can for our machines to give you the maximum life out of it. Actually, the oil that we offer, we chose to offer it because it maximizes the life, and we've priced it fairly affordable for within the realm of premium oils, because we want your greatest outcome. We're really not making a lot of money on that oil. In the mower oil business, things have shifted in the last couple of years. So the engine manufacturers moved to thicker oils, 15W50 type stuff on the engines, and although the label might have the same viscosity as the hydro oil that we use, it's not necessarily good for your hydro system. I really recommend that you do not put engine oil in your hydro system. Use the recommended hydro oil in there, and it's going to make a big difference. One of the biggest things that we look for is, even within that viscosity specification, we're looking for some of the highest viscosity oil, and then we're also looking very closely at things like what the additives are in there, which are different for a combustion engine, which produces things like acid and whatnot, versus pump and motor system where you don't have any cylinder liners, but you do have a lot of metal contact and that kind of thing. So we're using different additives there in the hydro oil. So I can't recommend using an engine oil on your mower, especially under the warranty period. Another question is this particular scenario warranty? And the thing about that is that we really need to put eyes on it. We need to get it in the dealer and look at the situation and the context around it. We typically are not going to be able to shoot from the hip and say, oh, that is warranty or whatever. We're glad to get involved and work with our dealers on what is warranty, what is not warranty, what part of the job is warrantable, those types of details. And so generally we're not going to be able to specifically answer those questions. So those are a number of different things we hear, answers to some of those questions that come our way. In general, I think our business is doing very, very well, considering all the things that have changed and happened in the last couple of years. It's a very strong market. The housing business is strong, and people are hiring lawn services more than ever. We're challenged by the rapidly increasing costs of many things in our lives, especially fuel. But I think the underlying market is very, very healthy, and I think we have a lot to be thankful for. So with that, I hope you have a good rest of your summer.